Hello, I'm Josh Wilkinson and welcome to Chattin, presented by Made.
Hello, Jess.
Hello, lovely to be here.
I wanted to just, I suppose, first of all, get an introduction to you, your job role, and what organisation do you work for?
Yeah, so I am Jess Fisher and I work for Digit Music. Digit Music do a whole range of things, but I'll break it down nice and simply for you. So we are a record label. We also make technology. So this here is called Composer and it's a digital musical instrument. So this is well, yeah, just demonstrating. So for anyone who might not be able to see this or is visually impaired, it basically looks like a game controller and you can basically use it with any instrument you can think of. As long as you've got something you can plug it in, you can play it. So this is what I use on a day-to-day to make music.
Well, cool. It looks like something from a sci-fi film. It definitely
does. It looks so cool. And then we also do creative learning, which is where I fall under. So I'm part of the creative learning team.
Cool. And I suppose the creative learning team, do you work with different groups? Is it mainly in Greater Manchester?
We work with trying to get around. So Manchester's one of the main areas we focus on. London, East Midlands. So we sort of try and get wherever we can, really.
Fantastic, yeah. Well, we'll talk a little bit about the day-to-day of your job and maybe some of the different things that you do within it. But I suppose, first of all, with the work that you're doing now as a learning coordinator, how did you get into that job and sort of what were the different sort of steps to take to get into a role like that?
Well, how long have we got? Because my journey is very unique. I never studied. I went to a SEND school, which for those of you that maybe don't know what that is, it just means because I'm in a wheelchair, I had to go to a school that suits my needs. Yeah. Basically what it means. So I didn't have the traditional education routes. I had it all on trying to convince the government to let me take my GCSEs. Right. So with music, it just kind of fell into my lap, I suppose. We had an organisation called Inspire Youth Arts come into our school and say, you know what, these students should be making music. Like, this isn't right. They have the ability. Let's get in creating music. We then created our own group called the Able Orchestra. That became then really big in Mansfield, where I'm from. Yeah. We actually got to perform at the Royal Albert Hall in 2016, which was pretty amazing. So through doing Able Orchestra, I met Si, who is one of the founders of Digit Music, and it just kind of went from there. And we started chatting, and Si came up with Composer from doing Able Orchestra. And then I started realising, okay, not only do I love playing music, I now want to become a music artist, but also I really enjoy teaching people about music. Yeah. So I got to Sai a bit more, started creating my own music. And then when I left college in 2019, late 2019, Sai then said, you know, would you like to come work for Digit? And then I started kind of growing up the ladder. I started off as a junior content creator. And then as I got more confident and just realising what it is I want to do, which is teach people the joys of music making, went up the ladder and here I am to learning coordinator. So not the traditional route of studying and all that came secondary, but it's paid off. So you don't always have to go down the traditional route of education. Sometimes these things happen for a reason. And
yeah, that's it. I mean, it sounds to me that it was sort of driven by the passion that you had as well, and also having that sort of, well, I suppose you said somebody came in, did it to the school and gave an opportunity that was almost like, well, well, that's fantastic. And I suppose you can do similar work now with the work that you do, can't you? Introducing this to other people.
And I think it's breaking down that. I think for me, one thing I did learn is I'm not academic. So you asked me to do maths and English, it's just not my thing. But you asked me to write a chord progression, and I'm there. So I think as long as you're passionate about something, you're going to put the work into it. You're going to work hard to get where you want to get. So that's something I learned.
100%, yeah. And I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think everybody sets off in life where they have passions, and then they also have this moment where it's like, right, what do I do for a job now to make money? Because I need to do that as well. And I think sometimes it is really difficult, isn't it? Because of different things where you can't necessarily follow your passion, but it's also making it accessible, as you've explained, but also making it something that is understood. Like, you know what, you can only really tell what, like, for example, people might not know what a learning coordinator is, but maybe after watching this, they understand what it is and go, I could give that a go. So that's another interesting thing. But going into that a little bit more, what would the day-to-day of your job look like?
No, unfortunately, not all parts of your job will be glamorous. So one thing I do have to do is I do a lot of admin work for Digit. So I'm constantly researching new organisations that we can reach out to, doing emails, keeping on top of paperwork, ringing clients and asking them if they're interested in what we do. But then there's the more what you would call maybe glamorous side, where we actually get to go out and deliver workshops to people and go and say, hey, we're Digit and we make music, and today we're going to show you how you can make music. And that's really exciting because I've got to see people I grew up with now go off and have a career in music, because they've seen what I've gone off and done, and they're like, oh yeah, I want to do that. So yeah, that's the more glamorous side. So yeah, it's just really about having a passion to teach others what you're passionate about, and then making sure the day-to-day tasks get done, to making sure people know that you're out there. So emails, phone calls, all these things that you don't view as maybe as glamorous or important are equally as important, because if you don't get those initial contacts going, you won't have anywhere to go.
Exactly. And it's almost like those things have to happen, don't they? Because if they don't happen, then there's nothing to then look forward to. Because if you were, for example, having an event or a workshop, and then you don't do the bits of emailing before, well, nobody's going to be there, are they? What I find interesting, tell me a little bit more then about, for someone who doesn't know anything about Digit, about sort of the different types of stuff that they do as well. Maybe not exactly directed to your role, but just generally.
So there's, oh gosh, this could be a whole other conversation. So like we have, I don't know if anyone knows what this is, but like we have the record label, and we make what's called a sample pack. And basically all sample packs is a lot of artists these days don't want to spend time making drum beats or making chord progression. So what we do is we make that for them, put it into a little pack, and then they can buy that and go off and use it in their own creativity. So we're almost giving people those building blocks that they need. And then other roles we have at Digit, obviously a big one is we make technology for people to use, and Compose has been a really big one. So we make creative technology for people to play and to use. And then we have social media. We have someone who runs our social media, making sure we get out there and all that fun stuff. And then we have the creative learning. And the joys of creative learning is you can be up there at the front teaching, or you can be like myself. So sometimes I'm up at the front helping lead, or you can be behind the scenes and doing a lot of admin work and outreach and getting people involved. So they're kind of the main areas that we focus on. And unfortunately, I've got some bad news to tell you. Even though we don't like to, maths and English never leaves you. In any job, you're always going to need maths and English. To do an email, I'm going to need to know how to spell.
Yeah.
To do music, you need to know maths because you need to know how many beats are in a bar. So you need to know numbers.
Yeah.
So you always use those skills as well. They never leave you, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, as much as we'd like to run away from maths and English, it's always chasing us. No, I feel that with the work that I do. I mean, I never got a maths GCSE, but I still have to do maths every day with the work that I do, and that comes with, like you say, you know, you'll be working out maybe. Doing little spreadsheets to work out what project budget you have and stuff, and it's exactly that. So with that and the day-to-day work that you do, you like you say, you've got the boring stuff that you do. You've got you say not boring, but the less glamorous, I think you put it. And then you said you've got the actual delivery and stuff. I suppose, do you work with all different ages? Is it usually just young people or?
Yeah, so I believe we just recently did a workshop with some young people and they range sort of the teenage age. And the way we go in is we just go in and show people that you might not necessarily class yourself as a musician, but by the end of today, we can say you're a musician because we believe at Digit, everyone should have the opportunity to be creative and to make music equally in any way they can, whether you're disabled like myself or whether you're not disabled. Everyone should have that opportunity to create music freely.
Yeah.
So the way the workshops sort of run is we'll go in a bit like we've done today. We'll tell you a bit about Digit, and then we'll show you Composer, get you just creating a load of noise on Composer, see what you kind of like. There's no right or wrong as well, so we're not going to be pointing the finger. Because Composer does a lot of the helping hand for you, so all you need to do is get playing.
Yeah,
So,
and just get to it and lose your inhibitions. Yeah. I think that's really interesting as well when you talk about that. I mean, I was when I was growing up, I never had an instrument really introduced to me at all, or any sort of music. I was quite musical in the fact that, I mean, I had an interest in music and instruments, but it was only at high school for like maybe one class, which was once every month, where we did like a bit of music. And I mean, I really want to take up learning how to play the piano because it's something that I've got an interest in. So I'm going to try and push myself to do it. But it is something that maybe sometimes you don't really just have an opportunity to do you?
No, so for someone like me, I can remember first going to Digit and saying, look, I know nothing about music theory. I've not had the educational, I know nothing. And Si and Owen, the other founder of Digit, was like, it's okay, because you don't need to know anything. And I was like, what? They're like, we're going to do it. And I almost went backwards. So rather than knowing all the theory, I just started playing. And luckily for me, Composer comes with chords built in it. So you just press the button and it knows, okay, if you go forward, you're going to play a C chord. So it does the C chord. But then over time, I was like, okay, so what's that C chord packed up in? And then I started to learn the theory side. So you don't necessarily need to worry about, I don't know what a chord is. You can just turn on chord mode and play a chord. And then as you get more confident, you can start to do your music theory. So, okay, I want to know what is actually made up of this chord. What does that mean? So, yeah, I think the main thing I've always learned with Digit and with Composer, we don't want the theory side or the fact that I don't know how to play an instrument stopping you from playing music, because the beauty is you can.
Yeah, no, that sounds, I mean, that sounds great. And also it seems like it breaks away that sort of barrier that may be there initially, and it lets you just go straight into it. Fantastic, yeah.
Even for teachers, I mean, if you're not a music practitioner and that's not your specialty, a load of teachers will be put off making music because they don't know the theory side. And we're like, well, we've made an instrument that it doesn't take away the hard work. You still have to pick it up and play it. But we're just going to help with some of that theory stuff, and hopefully it will relieve some of those jitters and some of those things that scare you.
Yeah, yeah, which is sometimes really needed, isn't it? Well, I mean, thinking about this as well, I mean, that gives a really good insight into the work that you do. But also, I was wanting to ask, I mean, this video is going to go out, it's going to go online, anybody can watch it. Mainly, my sort of mission with this is for young people who are choosing careers to maybe understand a little bit about job roles that they've not heard about, or for someone who's considering changing the role, for example. With this, I'm thinking, you know, you've said at the beginning you've gone through a bit of an unconventional journey, maybe, or you've come to the work that you do now in a way that is unique to you. But what would you have any bit of advice that you would give to anybody that's maybe sat now, if you went into a high school and gave a talk, is there any bit of advice you'd give to a group of young people?
Especially in the music industry, you know, you always think you've got to be the artist up there with the glitz and glamour. And a really nice explanation I heard the other day for actually an event we were at, and someone said, well, what about the engineer? Because without the engineer, Taylor Swift can't perform anything. She'll be going acoustic. And it really means that if you're not an outspoken person and you don't have a lot of confidence, there's so many jobs in the music industry that need people. They're just more behind the scenes. So like when I first came to Digit, I thought, oh, I am a music artist and I make music, but I didn't want to do that all the time every day. And then when Sai said, no, there's other jobs you can do, it really opened my eyes to, oh yeah, we need music teachers. We need people who are going to go out and teach people how to make music. Yeah. We need people on record labels making sample packs so people can buy them and then create their own music. We need engineers to make sure the lights aren't going to go off in the middle of your concert. So there's all these different jobs that, you know, are out there. And if you necessarily don't want to be in the glitz and glamour side of the music industry, there's all of the jobs that are so beneficial, because without those jobs, Taylor Swift wouldn't be able to get on stage most nights and perform a set. So there's something out there for everyone.
Yeah, I think that's interesting as well, because like you say, you might have a passion with being a music artist or like being the person on stage or whatever, or again, you might think, oh, I'd never be able to do that because I don't have the confidence. But like you say, it's highlighting that these roles exist, and like many things, it's like a machine, isn't it? All the different parts. I think that comes across when speaking to a lot of people with this series, actually, speaking to different people in different jobs. Everybody's role is so important because it all contributes to the end result, doesn't it? And that end result might be something different for every organization or for every artist, but it does need these people, needs a team behind it, doesn't it?
Really does. You can't, there's no I in team, as we say. You really do need a team behind. And that's what Digit is. We all work as a team and we all come out better because of it. So that's really...
That sounds, I mean, that's for me personally, yeah, the best way to do it and to grow individually and as an organization. Yeah, absolutely. One thing I was going to ask then, I mean, what sort of projects are you doing at the moment, or anything coming up? Or
so we obviously, now the pandemic's calming down, we're able to go out again and kind of say to people, we're Digit, we're here, and obviously that's really helpful. So we've got a lot of, I'm trying to be careful because I don't know what I can speak about and what I can't speak about. So, but we have got a lot of exciting things coming up, and we're able to go out and do delivery again. Personally, for me as an artist, music artist, I'm currently working on some new stuff, so that's exciting for me. And yeah, so as well as doing my day-to-day job, I also get to play music still, and hopefully in the near future I've got a song being released as well, so that's really...
Fantastic. Well, that's well exciting. I love to hear that. We could talk for hours and hours, couldn't we, Jess? I think that you've given such a good insight into your role and also organisation, but also just generally highlighting how you can really just make your own route, can't you, in what you do, if you've got those sort of I suppose little goals that you can set yourself and try and meet with new people.
I think one thing I've learned from my entire journey is don't be afraid to stand up for what you want. And, you know, if the right people will see your talents and they'll support you as well. Like, I'm so grateful for how Digit has brought me through this journey, not only, you know, giving me a job and help, you know, it's always good financially, but also growing as a person. And I now know loads of new stuff that I didn't know 2 years ago. So you're always growing in your job as well. You'll always become a better person. So,
well, thanks so much for chatting to me today. And
amazing.
yeah, it's been great to meet you digitally, and hopefully we'll meet you in person someday. All right, thanks, Jess. Cheers.
Bye.